Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners. Welcome. We're happy to have all of you here with us tonight. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Police Chief John Slaughter.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Chief. For our invocation tonight from the Wendell United Methodist Church, we're going to hear from Wallace Johnson. Good evening. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mayor Gray, doing well, thank you. So Winter Wonderland was a tremendous success. I think it was freezing cold, but it was good. Tradition at Wendell United Methodist has been to have our cookie walk this year. Our cookie walk money went all the way to our food pantry. I don't know if y'all are aware or know or wonder what's going on. The food insecurity is dramatically increasing. We're feeding around 100 families per month, and that's just our food pantry. So we're spending thousands of dollars every month to feed. And so Cookie Walk, we brought in about $3,500 worth of cookies. That's several hundred pounds. I can't remember what it was, several hundred pounds of cookies. So thankful to the community for supporting us in that, and that money goes directly back to some hungry people. So,
Would you like, is there a list of things that you need for the food pantry? The various, I know there's one else.
Yeah, that would be.
Do you have that? Is that available?
Oh yeah,
somewhere?
for sure. I mean, not in my pocket, but yes, I can get it to you easily.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
email that to me.
Okay,
I'll share it
I
with
will,
people.
I
Or if you'd
will.
rather have
So in the
monetary
past, the
donations. This is
council-
the time of year.
Right. In the past, the Council of Churches have done two pretty dramatic food drives. But the past couple of years, there's been some transition in the council, and that has not happened. But and we miss that. But yes, that'd be great. Yeah. Well, let's pray. God, this Advent season is a season that we look for you and we anticipate you. We wonder where you are in a world that so desperately longs for peace and hope and love and joy. And yet again, we come back to the reminder that you are with us, that you care for us, that you love us, that you want good things for us. Lord, in that same spirit, bless these who have given their lives, their time, their emotions, their everything to this town. This evening for Commissioners Deloach and Honeycutt and Eatman and Lutz and Joyner and Mayor Gray. Bless them. Fill them with your peace, with your sustenance, with your guidance. Bless our town, that you would call us all together as one and guide us as leaders in unity across the state. This we pray in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you so much. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
We have no one signed up for public comment tonight, but I'm going to go through it anyhow. The public may participate in public comment period by signing up. If you come in person on the night of the meeting and you have 3 minutes to speak, or you can submit written statements via email to the town clerk on the Friday before the Monday meeting. Please include your full name and address for the record, and they will be read into the record for a length of 3 minutes. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. We have no recognitions, reports, and presentations tonight. We'll move right into our public hearings. Item 5A is an evidentiary hearing on a special use permit requested by Kevin Bedingfield and Jessica Ligon to allow a bar, tavern, nightclub at an existing building located at 45 North Main Street, PIN number 17846083334. Before we get started, let's have the attorney review the special use permit hearing guidelines.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is a special use permit hearing, which, as you know, is a due process evidentiary hearing. Witnesses are sworn. Board makes decisions based on the evidence that's presented at the hearing. The evidence by statute must be competent, material, and substantial. And as you know, certain types of evidence may have to be submitted by experts in that field in order to be acceptable. For example, engineering and appraisal evidence. The board considers the evidence and determines whether that evidence satisfies the requirements of the ordinance, and if so, the permit is allowed, and if not, the permit is denied. So it's an objective process, unlike your legislative hearing.
All right. We need anyone who's going to be speaking during the public hearing needs to be sworn by the town clerk.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
All right, we're going to hear from Ms. Griffin from staff, but before, did you have something you wanted to?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have one disclosure. I know both applicants socially, and I'm a member of the Bull and Bear Investment Club along with Mr. Bedingfield. Thank you.
Does that create any problem in your mind in having a fair hearing and rendering a decision?
No, sir, I believe I can remain impartial.
All right,
Madam Mayor, just to be consistent, I would just highlight for the record that the last time we did the disclosures around Bulls and Bears. So I am also a member of Bulls and Bears, and Joe Deloach is also a member of Bulls and Bears, and I do not believe that that will impact my, in any way.
It will not.
we good? All right. Let's hear from staff. Good evening.
Good evening. Again, this is for a special use permit located at 45 North Main Street for a bar, tavern, nightclub. As we've been over before, any on-premise consumption that's not considered a restaurant under the UDO is considered a bar, tavern, nightclub, and that does require a special use permit in the downtown district. As we reference, a bar, tavern, nightclub means a business where alcoholic beverages are sold for on-site consumption, which are not part of a larger restaurant. Includes bars, taverns, pubs, and similar establishments where any food service is subordinate to the sale of alcoholic beverages. May also include beer brewing as part of a microbrewery and other beverage tasting facilities. Entertainment, including live music and or dancing, comedy, etc., may also be included. There is one additional standard for bar, tavern, nightclub that gets applied under the UDO in the districts that you see there, where no such facility can be located within 300 feet of a church or school or any residential district. This property is more than 400 feet from any of those things. The building is currently vacant. It's on the same block with 41 North Coffee Shop, Brickview Event Space, and a commercial business that fronts Pine Street. Across Pine Street is Universal Chevrolet, and across Main Street to the east is Tappett's Social House and Aubrey and Petey's Restaurant. There you see the subject property outlined in blue. The downtown mixed-use district is coded to encourage redevelopment and expansion of the traditional downtown area. Individual buildings are encouraged to be mixed vertically with street-level commercial and upper-level residential or commercial uses. Higher densities of residential development are encouraged in the DMX as well. Although we do not make a recommendation on special use permits as staff, we do go through the findings of fact and present some facts to accommodate, to accompany each one. The first finding of fact is that the proposed use does not affect adversely the general plans for the physical development of the town as embodied in the ordinance or in any plan or portion thereof adopted by this board. The DMX zoning district is designed for retail as well as restaurants and auxiliary uses, and those are intended to attract customers to the downtown. The proposed use will not be contrary to the purposes stated in the regulation. The UDO allows for this use with a special use permit. There are several downtown businesses that have received a special use permit for this similar use or this very use. The proposed use will not adversely affect the health and safety of residents or workers. The applicant is requesting to open a bottle shop with on-site consumption after another similar business downtown was closed. The proposed use will not be detrimental to the use of development or adjacent properties or other neighborhood uses. This building is surrounded by other commercial uses. The proposed use will not be affected adversely by existing uses. There is a mixture of other retail, restaurants, and entertainment uses in close proximity to this site. The proposed use will be placed on a lot of sufficient size to satisfy the space requirements of the use. The existing building follows the property lines, and the lot cannot accommodate any parking on site. The applicant is proposing that residents use existing on-street parking. The proposed use will not constitute a nuisance or hazard because of the number of persons who will attend or use the facility. The building is 2,338 square feet and comprised mostly of retail sales. It's an existing downtown building and will not emit a level of noise that constitutes a nuisance and will not generate fumes. The standards set forth for each particular use or project which a permit may be granted have been met. The applicant is not making substantial changes to the building and is aware of building code requirements if they choose to make changes that rise to that level. The board may impose or require such additional restrictions or conditions as necessary to protect the health and safety of workers or residents in the community. The board may impose conditions at your discretion. The proposed use shall be subject to the minimum area setback and other location requirements in the ordinance. The applicant is proposing to utilize the existing building within the DMX district. The setbacks are 0, and it is an existing building. The proposed use shall be subject to the off-street parking and service requirements of the UDO. And again, they are proposing, like most other businesses downtown, to utilize the existing on-street parking or municipal lots that are in close proximity. There you see the description of the downtown core place type that calls for commercial uses to be downtown. And again, we don't make a recommendation on special use permits. The newspaper ad, the notification to adjacent property owners, and a public hearing sign were all placed on those various dates to accommodate our ordinance and general statutes. We would ask that if you grant the special use, that you add a condition that all applicable building permits, laws, and codes are obtained or maintained. And that's all I have. I can answer questions if you like. The business owners are here as well.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Any questions from the board?
I have one. Why do we always have to add the condition that permits, laws, and codes will be like, that seems pretty, right?
I don't disagree. I think it's, if the special use permit needs to be revoked, that possibly makes that easier if they're not following the condition.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Anything else? Anything else from the board? All right, does the applicant want to be heard?
Not unless there's any questions.
All right, no one else was sworn, so. There's no, Paul, you weren't sworn. Were you? Oh, just checking.
Just check, I'll let you check.
All right.
Paul White, I own the adjacent property across the street from it. I went to the meeting you had on it. I have no problems. I think it's going to be good for that end of town. So I'm speaking in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anything else from the board? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Michelle's pleasure.
I've got just a comment. The application included meeting notes from the community meeting. And I wanted to just say, I appreciate the fact y'all included conversations that folks that didn't show up to the community meeting, because a lot of times, what we're trying to get is, what did everybody around you say? And a lot of times we get a report on the community meeting. That was quite helpful. And with that, Madam Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the special use permit because it meets the standards of approval as outlined in section 15.15 of the Town of Wendell Unified Development Ordinance.
And also with a condition that applicable,
Yes, ma'am, and with the condition that all applicable building permits, laws, and codes are obtained and/or maintained.
okay, so we have a motion to grant the special use permit and and with the condition that all applicable building permits, laws, and codes be obtained and maintained. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. Item 5B is a public hearing to annex and rezone approximately 16.74 acres from rural residential to neighborhood center conditional district to create Griffin Towns. Ms. Griffin.
In full disclosure, it was not named after me.
Okay.
And I don't have any part in this one either. We are asking that you hold the public hearing tonight and consider a motion to rezone the property to include the statement of plan consistency and reasonableness. Again, the applicant is asking to rezone 16.74 acres located off of Eagle Rock Road from rural residential to neighborhood center conditional district to create a 113-lot residential townhome community. The address on this one is 1500 Eagle Rock Road and can be identified by the pin before you. To the north and west of this property, we have the previously approved Wendell Estates. It was rezoned to R7 Conditional District in 2023. Construction documents are in review for that. To the south is an agricultural property that's also zoned rural residential. And to the east are single-family homes in the RA zoning district and the Eagle Rise subdivision. There you see the property with the hatching and the red outline that is for your consideration tonight. You have the site plan there before you with 2 stubs to the adjacent properties with the entrance off of Eagle Rock. The one thing to note, there is some improved open space in the middle there that you see with a playground, but there is a paved trail in the Duke easement that also connects to Wendell Estates and connects all the way over to Eagle Rock Road. The subject property is within the ETJ and again is currently zoned RR and asking for neighborhood center conditional districts as townhomes are not permitted in RR. The neighborhood center district is coded for areas for residential and mixed-use development in close proximity to existing and planned neighborhood centers. The intent is to create higher density residential areas that complement commercial districts with physical proximity and pedestrian connectivity. Different housing types and lot styles are encouraged. Development in this district should encourage pedestrian use through connections to adjacent neighborhoods. The lot dimensions you see there are the ones under the NC district in the UDO, a lot width of 16 feet. The applicant's proposing 20 feet. They are proposing the front setback of 20 feet due to where the garages are because we require that to make sure that vehicles aren't hanging over the sidewalk areas. And it does meet all the setbacks as required under the UDO and the dimensions proposed by the applicant. There are quite a few zoning conditions to go through. Townhomes are permitted use by right as recognized by approval of the conditional district rezoning of the subject property. The rear and side building elevations of each home within the community shall have a minimum of 1 window or door on each floor within the home on each exposed wall, so the end units there. Each window, entry door, and garage door shall have trim molding measuring 4 inches and/or decorative shutters surrounding each window. Garage doors must include glazed windows with decorative hardware details and/or other accents included. All homes will have front-loaded garages. Siding materials, a minimum of 2 of the following will be utilized on the exterior of the residential townhome. They are wood, fiber cement, masonry brick, brick veneer, masonry stone, stone veneer, composite synthetic stone. Vinyl siding is not permitted except for trim elements of the dwelling unit facade. Townhome buildings shall have at least 1 roofline break of 2 feet. The front exterior siding designs will contain various design patterns such as horizontal or vertical elements, shake or board and batten designs. Windows and casings, various decorative elements, and trim moldings may be vinyl. All areas other than the common area within the community are considered yards and will utilize sod as ground cover. The community HOA is to be established and will be responsible for the continued maintenance of all building yards, amenities, recognized open space, common areas, stormwater control management devices, roofs, and exteriors of residential buildings, and provide termite control to all buildings and facilities. All amenities and areas defined as open space or common area will be maintained by the HOA. There will be a community landscape plan inclusive of additional landscaping on the Eagle Rock Road frontage and additional areas of pollinated landscape garden and areas within the community. Pollinator garden areas shall not be less than 200 square feet and will consist of varying types of native pollen-producing plants to attract pollinators such as bees and butterflies. Each building will have additional screening on the sides consisting of shrubs and/or low-story trees. On-street parking will be permitted within spaces provided and designated for such. Each home will have a rear porch, deck, or patio of at least 70 square feet. A minimum of 2 units in each townhome group shall have a masonry water table of at least 24 inches on the front elevation. The minimum square footage of homes will be 1,200 square feet. Accessory and amenity facilities shall be constructed of materials that blend well with the architectural and aesthetic styling of the community and be of similar materials. The front and back eaves of all residential buildings shall have 12 inches of overhang. The Type B perimeter buffer may be reduced to 10 feet on the northern property line adjacent to the pin that you see there to accommodate necessary maintenance easements and infrastructure to serve the development. The paved path located within the Duke Energy power line easement shall have a 10-foot minimum width. A minimum of 2 pet waste stations shall be provided along the sidewalks, paths, and/or trails. And a pollinator garden with pollinator plants such as native milkweeds and other nectar-rich flowers shall be provided in one of the open space areas. The applicant will, of course, need to obtain stormwater and sedimentation erosion control approval and permits from Wake County Environmental Services. There is 1 stormwater control measure shown on the site. For buffers, again, there is a 20-foot buffer required along the northern and western property lines since townhomes are a more intense use than the single-family homes that have been approved in that section of Wendell Estates. They are asking for a 10-foot Type B buffer on the northern property line rather than 20 feet wide as mentioned in Condition 17. It does include all the street tree plantings along Eagle Rock Road as well as all the internal public streets as required. For open space, townhomes require 1,000 square feet per townhome unit. And the breakdown with the 75% can be passive, 25% has to be improved, and 1/3 of that has to be active. Again, that's 113,000 square feet of open space. They're providing a little over 119,000. It does include the required amount of improved and active open space, including a playground and the 10-foot paved trail that connects to Wendell Estates. The site does not have any streams, wetlands, or floodplains to be shown on the plan. For the transportation, it generated a peak hour trip of 64 in the PM peak hour. They did prepare a TIA just to make sure that they were not exceeding the thresholds required by a TIA, so they went ahead and did that. The improvements contained are Eagle Rock Road at the site drive that you saw earlier, a southbound right turn lane into the site with 50 feet of storage, and a northbound left turn lane into the site with 100 feet of storage. Oops. That's repeated, sorry. In the arterial and collector street plan, Eagle Rock is a future 4-lane divided road consisting of 110 feet of right-of-way with 12-foot travel lanes, 5-foot bike lanes, 6-foot sidewalks, and street trees. Local streets within the development are 52 feet wide of right-of-way. There are, again, 2 stubs to adjacent properties. All the lots do have the required 2 parking spaces, and there's parking at the amenity, as well as some parallel parking on internal streets. The plan only shows one phase, so this is not a phased project. The comp plan does identify this parcel as medium residential living 2. The plan meets the characteristics of the MRL2 place type, which allows for a density of 4 to 8 units per acre. It's moderate density comprised of single-family or attached single-family, such as townhomes, which this is. The density, again, between 4 and 8. The density of this neighborhood is 6.95. And improved open spaces in the form of pocket and neighborhood parks. It does include the 10-foot walking trail again, as well as a playground. There you see the description of the MRL2 place type. Any recommended change to the zoning map should be accompanied by a statement explaining how the change is or is not consistent with the comp plan and is or is not reasonable. Again, the medium residential 2 place type calls for a density between 4 to 8 units per acre, and this one's at 6.95. The plan is consistent with Blueprint Wendell 2030 and could be considered reasonable as it assists with the plan goal NH3 to diversify housing to appeal to different groups of age, income, lifestyle preferences, and family situations. The applicant did hold a virtual neighborhood meeting in October. 7 neighbors were notified, no one attended, and that sign-in sheet and things are in your packet as well. TRC has completed their review. If approved, additional review would be on construction drawings when they submit those. The planning board recommended approval of this 5-0 at their November 18th meeting, and there you see the members that were voting for. The proposed development is consistent with the comp plan Blueprint Wendell 2030 and could be considered reasonable since it fulfills the goals of the comp plan noted above, and therefore staff recommends approval. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. The applicant is here and does have a presentation.
Okay, let's open the public hearing. Any questions from the board at this point? Yeah.
I do have a few. Mine are all condition related, so it might be helpful to run back
Should
to
go
those
back.
slides if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Sure.
This one. Go ahead to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 8 is one I hadn't seen before. Is that definition relevant for anything besides condition number 9?
I think it speaks to one that we have had before about what a yard is and is the front yard going to be sod and the backyard's going to be seeded. And
Okay.
so I think they're just making clear what is considered a yard and that they will be sodded.
Got it. Thank you. Number 14. Have we had ones like this with a minimum square footage of the home before? Is that a standard one?
It is not standard, but we have had it
had 'em.
before.
Is that one that we've requested or one that they brought to us? Or
They voluntarily submitted that one.
I'll just say I don't like them. I don't like the idea of, we regulate lot size, we regulate density and a lot of other things, but I've been a proponent of the accessory dwelling units, and I think if somebody wants to live in a small house, we should make it illegal. I would just not advocate for those being recruited
Okay.
from developers in the future. I don't love that it's included generally. And then, I think there were two different ones about pollinator gardens. Is that, love that the point has been made, and native plants, I think, were referenced both
Yes.
times, so my message is getting through. Is there anything different between those two, or is it just like some overlap between those, or anything that's important to note?
And maybe they can speak to this, but in reading it myself, this one is a little nuanced in that it says it's in one of the open space areas as opposed to maybe a common space area.
Okay.
So that was what I took away from it.
That's all for now, thank you.
I have one question, Madam Mayor. Number 18, I think this is the first time that I've seen a Duke Energy easement. I like it. Is that a sign of things to come?
The easement goes, it's a transmission line, and it goes from Eagle Rock Road back.
Let me be
So-
more specific with the 10-foot paved path.
So Wendell Estates, adjacent to this,
Mm-hmm.
has that same paved path, and they are continuing it and taking it all the way out to Eagle Rock in the same Duke Energy easement. So the adjacent subdivision that's already been approved has one as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the board? Okay, let's hear from the applicant. There it is right there.
Yeah. Thanks. Good evening, Mayor Gray and board members. My name's Ashley Honeycutt-Terrazas with Parker Poe, here on behalf of the applicant. I also have a couple members of the Timmons Group who helped design this project with me tonight as well. Ryan Wadsworth and Jeff Hockenottle, who did the traffic analysis. If there's any questions for them, they're here as well. We've been working hard on this application for annexation and conditional zoning with your staff since March. And they've been wonderful to work with, and we're pleased to be able to present this to you tonight and answer your questions and hopefully gain your support. So just given a site overview here, and Stacy did a really great and in-depth presentation, but I'll just go over a few of these high-level things. It's a site at 1500 Eagle Rock Road. It's a little over 16 acres, so not a particularly large site, but there is a lot happening in this area, so this is an excerpt from the town's interactive development map. I think it's safe to say this area is going to look very different in the next 5 years. So residential projects of various housing types, lot sizes, already approved and either in the planning or construction phase. And then these residents, the idea is that they will support various commercial projects that are approved and proposed along Wendell Falls Parkway as envisioned by the Blueprint Wendell Comprehensive Plan. So a lot of those projects around Wendell Falls Parkway are commercial or contain commercial right there on that frontage. And all of these projects are bringing frontage improvements and other infrastructure upgrades to the area. So like Stacy mentioned, this is medium residential 2. This is a housing type contemplated for this area. Also language in the comprehensive plan about incorporating open spaces in the form of greens and pocket parks and neighborhood parks, and have internal greenway trails connecting to neighboring development. And so with that master plan, that comprehensive plan guidance in mind, we've designed and worked on with your technical review staff this master plan layout, so 113 townhomes, prioritizing active open spaces for residents of these homes with a centralized and walkable neighborhood park, also adding that 10-foot paved multi-use trail, and I think somebody asked the question where that condition came from that actually mirrored the condition of the adjacent case, so we're continuing it over. For the residents of this trail will be for the residents of this community, but also for residents of the adjacent Wendell Estates development to connect them to Eagle Rock Road, which is planned to be a 4-lane divided avenue with sidewalk, bike lane, street trees, improvements that this project will be providing along the property's frontage. And so this is a exhibit that we made that I think is helpful to kind of show how this project fits into Wendell Estates. Like Stacy mentioned, that project is going through construction drawing review right now, so that they have single-family detached homes and townhomes. Annexation and zoning was approved, and this project will provide additional vehicular and pedestrian connectivity for those residents as well. And I think there were some questions about where some of the conditions came from, because there are a lot of them. A lot of them, again, we actually pulled directly from this case, just to make sure that the two communities are consistent and flow together when they're built out. And then these are the elevations that we provided with the master plan, demonstrating the homes intended for this project. Again, high-quality architectural interest. It's not a large project, but these have different styles for multiple price points and family needs. And then Stacy went through the conditions in detail, so I'm going to just, there's 20 zoning conditions, 10 architectural commitments, again, consistent with those conditions in Wendell Estates. I think that might actually be where that minimum square footage condition came from, because we looked at that case, and then also the Eagle Rock Townhomes case recently approved up the street. So again, a lot of these architectural commitments mirror those conditions from the Eagle Rock Townhomes case and Wendell Estates to ensure the high quality of home consistent with immediately adjacent neighborhood, but also other more recently approved townhome communities coming to the town. Also, those commitments to enhance landscaping using pollinators in the landscaping. Also, to answer your question, I think, yes, very similar, the two pollinator conditions, but the last condition is more about it being in those active open space areas, the improved open space that have to have, seating and trash cans and walking paved trails. The condition about connecting to the Wendell Estates path, the HOA condition, and then the pet waste stations, heard from your planning staff. This has been an issue in some other communities of the town, so we went ahead and offered that. And then I'll just close on the consistency with the Blueprint Wendell Comprehensive Plan. Stacy mentioned the policy about diversifying housing to appeal to different groups, but also a lot of policies in there about leveraging access to existing and potential greenway corridors, expanding park and greenway and trail systems, expand network of safe bicycle and pedestrian facilities. And so we've tried to craft a case that really speaks to those policies as well. So it's a proposed 16-acre annexation and zoning, but it does provide housing diversity in a place and at a density that's called for in the comprehensive plan. And also consistent with these policies around expanded trail systems and bike ped facilities that will serve future residents in this area. And so I hope this information was helpful. And like Stacy said, got a unanimous recommendation for approval from the planning board, and staff have recommended approval, and we're happy to answer questions. And we ask for your support this evening for this annexation and zoning request. Thank you.
Anything from the board? Anything this way?
Yeah, one, so in reading condition, I think it was 16, it talks about the types. How does, we were talking about the types of siding. This is how does the HOA in a, I don't need the specific provision, I can explain what I'm talking about, but how does you have an HOA, you have 100 and, I'm assuming 113 different owners.
Mm-hmm.
The buildings are attached to each other. Your house is white, mine's not white. Like, how does that process that's defined in that condition actually work out, right? When it's time to paint the house, how does that, I'm trying to understand how a functional HOA works on one big unit.
When it's one townhome building, how they choose the paint colors.
Right, well, just like how this, the first question was, you're gonna have 119 different owners.
130, yeah. Mm-hmm.
113 different
Yeah,
owners. And so then the question just becomes the way that's, well, it wasn't 16. I think I've talked myself through my own question, Madam Mayor. You're good.
I have one statement I want to make too, following up with what Commissioner Eman said. And I know it's probably too late in the game. You guys do what you need to do on this one, but
Yeah.
the 1,200, I'm in agreement. I don't like to put an arbitrary number. Give the flexibility for the market to bear. If someone wants to live in a small house, they ought to have the right to do so. That product should be available. Thank you. That's more or less
Yeah.
for our staff to hear from two commissioners. Thanks.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anything else from the board?
Yeah, I'll just add from a HOA standpoint, exterior, you know, we talk a lot about siding types and that kind of thing. HOA, in this situation, covers the exterior maintenance of this building, correct?
Yes.
So to Commissioner Joyner's point, we don't have to worry about 7 different owners in a building. The HOA is going to cover that. So if it's black and white and red and blue, it's handled by the HOA, which is a great thing in my mind here. I will kind of joke about the 2 pet waste stations. Was that just an arbitrary number that we came up with?
Yeah, that's what
Just
we
a
talked through, but I
recommendation?
think generally they're every like 1,000 feet or so, you put a pet waste station, and this is not, there's not a whole
Yeah,
lot
for
of.
113 units, you're
trails.
probably going to need more than 2.
Yeah, for the interior.
I have 2 dogs myself, so. And then for 16, the overhang piece, that is just for I guess, a more appealing building structure rather than just having a rectangle that is essentially a box.
Yes, sir, the eaves provide architectural interest, yeah.
And based on the renderings with the different types of material, the overhang requirement, it's nice looking product. So, and there are 2 car garages I
Yes.
saw as well, which is a big thing. Because a lot of times we see 1-car garage townhomes, which aren't really 1-car garage townhomes. You can probably pull a car in there, but getting out of your car might present a different issue in some of those. So, the product seems nice, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anything else from the board?
I'll just say one thing, and this is not a comment really necessarily on the project itself, because I honestly, I do like, I think it looks very nice. I like the conditions. Everything's been said tonight. My concern is kind of just an overall, I guess it's more of my level of comfort on the timeline of all this. We have the large kind of developments coming in, and I'm looking at it just from this map here to the left, and we have stuff from the right and kind of from the north, and we have a lot of stuff coming in this area right now too. And we also have a transportation bond we've approved to, well, I'll say this, we have a lot of things coming in this area, at an area where this is probably the worst intersection in town. So while I know we've taken some steps and we have some plans and some bond money, and things have been approved, to me, I have a lot more just comfort approving things in this area when I know, what this plan's gonna look like, what this is gonna have effect it's gonna have on this area. I think if this was coming to us in, 10 years, when we had some of that data in front of us, that would feel, it may be a moot point. I mean, I haven't talked about it at all right now, but just the timeline of this, knowing we're putting another addition to a large developmental area without having a fix for our transportation issue, to me doesn't seem in the best interest of some of our citizens at this time. So that's where my problem, my concern comes to the project, not with itself, but just with where we are as far as the town developing at that point.
And I do have, Jeff, I know there's a lot of improvements coming to that intersection, and definitely heard that concern, and if you'd like to hear from him on that.
I no offense to any traffic engineers, but I've never found the traffic TIE studies to, I don't know, it's science, and I'm a science guy, but it always seems like it just brings up more debate, more like, yeah, but, so,
Okay, yeah.
Thank you though for offering.
But yeah, there are improvements coming to the intersection, and
Understand.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask one follow-up question, if I may, Madam Mayor. Right on that. Are you familiar, if this is outside your realm, then I'll accept that. But across the street diagonally is Affinity, that development. Is your north-south collector equivalent to or larger than that one? I ask that because I took liberty to ride by there tonight before I came in. I want to ride by at 6 o'clock and see what it looked like at rush hour, and I had no problem getting into Affinity and getting out of Affinity, because I think, and to Commissioner Lewis's point, traffic is a very serious issue, and how we time this infrastructure and these north and south collectors has relevance to a lot of people. That is one of their number one concerns. So my ask is, I think that Affinity is probably about the same size. So I'm wondering, is your collector bigger, equal to, or about the same?
So the collector road from Wendell Estates lines up with Affinity at Wendell.
Yes, sir.
Their streets are south of that collector road, but they have internal connections to Wendell Estates and that collector road.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Anything else from the board? Anything else from the applicant?
That's all. There aren't any more questions.
Is there anyone else here that would like to speak in favor or against the project from the public? All right. Anything else from the board?
Madam Mayor, can we have Brian discuss development at that corner? Or development between this site and south?
Hold on, we'll get me.
Actually, I think that her presentation
Yep.
has, there we go.
Well, yeah. So the property directly to the south that is green on this map that is labeled as RR is classified in our comp plan as activity center. So it's anticipated to be a mix of commercial uses. The property directly to the south that is neighborhood center conditional district was rezoned in 2021, 22, that has a mix of multifamily and commercial buildings and is kind of a dense mixed-use project. The site directly to the east that's labeled as RA is currently in review and called Wendell Commons, and it is a grocery-anchored shopping retail center.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And I can field any questions you may have on kind of what's going on in that area.
One follow-up on that, then, is it, and if you can't, let me know, are we able to, do we know when we'll see some sort of the next phase of improvement, i.e. we saw that turn lane added last year, if memory serves, do you know when the next upgrade will be?
We are actually
incremental.
coming to you January 13th with a presentation on the design of that intersection and some fee and lieu from TIAs that have been done on other projects. So we will be back on January 13th to give you a project update and design update on Eagle Rock and Wendell Falls Parkway.
Thank you.
The board may recall that in this year's budget, there was design to get to 60% design by June 30th. And then following that, we would move to construction design and then construction of the intersection. It would be for the final design layout, which would be presented to you in January by the consultant.
Thank you.
That is an ongoing active project that would be funded by transportation bond funds and development impact fees set aside specifically for this purpose, in coordination with DOT, whose both of roads these are.
And just confirming, moving south from this, commercial, moving east, commercial.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Last chance, anything else from the board? All right, we'll close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I was going to certainly respect Dr. Lutz's thoughts, and we had a conversation about it. And that's why I asked Brian to talk about the lot to the south, because some of that's changed even since we've looked at it. This site's surrounded by commercial, and as the manager pointed out, both state roads, it appears that it connects to the other developments around it, and there's, Brian answered my question on the growth. We do need to be careful about where we put things here, because the thing that comes next to it is conditioned on that. With the transportation, I don't disagree. I don't think anyone in this town would disagree that traffic can be a struggle there. That's why 72% of voters voted last year for us to fix that intersection, and then January 13th, we'll get it, the update. From my perspective, though, everything I can do on Eagle Rock subdivision, we've gotten fee in lieu of requests from other developers, and we've got those funds that I'm sure we'll hear about. We put a solution to it on a bond, and a bond passed. We're now drawing up the plan. That money's more secure than any other version of government spending we have, right? It's defined for those uses. So if I could come up with one more thing that I could do that would fix that intersection, I would certainly be willing to tie this project up to do it, if I thought that it would fix that intersection. But the plan for the intersection is to put turn lanes on every side of the intersection, and we've already paid for that plan. It's coming, so I don't know what else we could do there, transportation-wise. So it's not changing what I think is a likely commercial hub intersection. It likely fits with what's just mentioned, being across the street as a grocery store anchor. And everything that I can think of transportation-wise that we could fix, we already have a plan in progress to fix. I'm not excited about it. I've seen townhomes before. I know what they look like. I like fun, new, exciting things. But that's not what we're asked to do. So weighing all those things, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the zoning map amendment CD 2403 as it is consistent with Blueprint 2030, and the comprehensive plan is reasonable and in the public interest.
Madam Mayor, I don't think we included the annexation portion of that in the sample motion as well, so if we could include the annexation of the parcel in with that.
All right. Jason?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the zoning and annexation request and the map amendment CD 2403 as it is consistent with Blueprint 2030.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the zoning request and the map amendment request. Is that complete? And the annexation request? Okay. As it's consistent with Blueprint 2023 comprehensive plan is reasonable in public interest because it will likely, did you select something for that?
No, ma'am.
Okay, scratch that part. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, we'll move into our administrative items. Item 6A is a downtown improvement grant application for 16 East 3rd Street. I'm going to hear from Matt Garner.
I am here. Good evening. Phyllis Howard, on behalf of Parish Investments LLC, has requested a downtown improvement grant for 16 East 3rd Street. That building, as you may know, is between the newly opened Parallax Coffee and was formerly the left side of the Helping Hands Missions sort of retail operation. They have since consolidated into just one half of their former space. The grant requested amount is $5,000, which is the maximum that they are eligible to receive given the improvements they're making. They're spending approximately $26,500 to replace the windows and door of the entire storefront. The applicant submitted all their required information, required quotes, pictures, and had a pre-submittal meeting with staff. And at the November 21st Downtown Development Committee, the committee voted unanimously to recommend approval of the grant. At that meeting, the applicant shared that the future use of the space is supposed to be a golf simulator facility, similar to ones you've seen and pop up in other places around the triangle. Staff recommends approval, and please let me know if you have any questions.
All right, anything from the board?
Madam,
Sorry, just one quick question. Is the picture that's in the packet, my question is, has the work already been done? Is the picture that's in there
No.
this product or not?
No, the picture in the packet is the current facade of the building. The interior work, the picture from the back of the building looking towards the front, the interior work has been completed, but that's not this.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the downtown improvement grant for 16 East Third Street.
All right, we have a motion to approve the downtown improvement grant for 16 East Third Street. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 6B is the Brownfield Task Order 14 for 107 West Fourth Street site evaluation.
Thank you. Geosyntec, who you may know as our Brownfield, EPA Brownfield Grant consultant, has prepared Task Order 14 for your consideration. This is for some more advanced due diligence on 107 West 4th Street, which is currently owned by Mr. White, and used mostly as a parking lot. The Phase 1, which was conducted there, found a recognized environmental condition, or an REC, due to the former gas station that was across the street in what is currently Pico de Gallo. Essentially, a plume has flowed underground from the former gas station to what is currently the parking lot. Prior to any work that would ever be done on that location, we would advise that a Phase 2 be conducted. So this task order is to prepare the necessary documents, such as a QAP, which is everyone's favorite word, and a site eligibility determination to be approved by the EPA. The task order 14 is budgeted with a not-to-exceed amount of $12,507, which is all utilizing the EPA's grant money. If approved and if these actions are carried out, we'll return to you with another task order for the site to do the actual Phase 2 environmental site assessment. I'm open to any questions you may have.
All right, anything from the board?
What is a plume?
Essentially, the scope of any vapor or liquid intrusion from what could have been or may have been at some point a leaking underground storage tank, or UST. The effects of any solvent is much greater than the actual area that it would have touched, potentially. Usually you can determine that with soil samples, monitoring wells, and borings. It's not usually a big impact unless you're drilling a well.
As a reminder to the board, this is the property that we've negotiated to swap this and another one for the town hall property. The proposed end use is a paved parking lot. A typical treatment for this kind of impact, neighboring impact, is paving and capping the property. There's no prolonged anticipated exposure to soils or hanging out in the parking lot in any manner that would cause any concern with moving forward.
And we're utilizing grant funds for it.
Yes.
I just didn't know what plume meant. Madam Mayor, I move we approve Task Order 14 to the town's master service agreement with Geosyntec.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve Task Order 14 of the town's master service agreement with Geosyntec. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Thank you.
All right, real quickly into our other business updates on board committees by town board members. Let's see. Wendell Volunteer Fire Department Board of Directors, Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Wendell Fire Department is still anxiously awaiting our new fire trucks that are rapidly coming this direction as fast as a fire truck can. One in the end of this month and one in February. So that's exciting. The other one is another, and thank you again to the town board for the stoplights. We put sensors in 2 different lights now that allow us, the fire trucks, to move through and control those lights. It's very helpful. In that vein, fire departments move into a digital Knox box key. So when they show up to town hall or they show up to a commercial building and no one is there, Dr. Lutz's office, for instance, there's a key that they have access to on the outside. And right now, Wendell Fire Department has access to that. We're upgrading to a system that will allow other fire departments given access to access those. So even keys are becoming digital now, and Wendell is going to stay ahead of the curve in getting those. So all the new ones you see go in from now on will be digital, and we'll be converting a bunch of the old stuff over to digital, but it'll give us a little bit easier time working with our surrounding communities. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And, thank you. Central Pines Regional Council, Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No actual meeting. There was a reception, awards, recognitions. Next meeting, January 2025.
All right. Moving to our reports, commissioners' comments. Start with Commissioner Joyner.
Just to thank our town staff and everyone that made the holiday Wendell Wonderland such a success. It was a fun event, and it's always, it has certainly become a Wendell tradition now, and it's really the way that kind of starts the season. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Lutz,
No, I'll echo those same statements, but that's all.
Commissioner Eatman,
Nothing else to add.
Commissioner Honeycutt.
End of my first year. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Thank you.
Commissioner Deloach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great event Friday night. Thanks town staff for their efforts. We had a Public Works groundbreaking as well, so Public Works was busy this past week, and it was very, very cold. So I made an effort to thank them a million times. I didn't even make it for the senior strutters, Mayor, and luckily they put heaters on the stage for them because they went last. So great event. We had a tent set up for some information as well, and stopped by there a few minutes, and all the feedback from the couple of folks that I had a chance to speak to, very complimentary, just a lot of cool things going on in town. And, you know, we are committed, this board. Obviously, we're doing great things. So thanks for the support, and we'll see you in 25.
Okay, thank you. Real quickly, echo that. Wendell Wonderland was just fantastic. It always is. It's a great event. I want to personally thank our Public Works and our Parks and Rec for their planning and their efforts, and also the police. They were out there shutting the road down and doing all the things, and our other town staff. It's really a big events like that are all hands on deck, and everybody was there. Planning folks, everyone was there. So the furthest away couple that I met came from Washington, D.C. So that's pretty cool. People are coming from all over because we're so great in Wendell. So I look forward to it every year. I was really proud of how beautiful our town looked. It makes me proud, and I hope that other citizens are proud of that as well. It's really beautiful. So I want to wish you the happiest of holidays and a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I think that 2025 is going to be a banner year in Wendell. You're going to see the completion of a lot of things that have been going on now, and a lot of things that we have, the town staff is working very hard to make happen. They're going to hopefully come to a point of completion, and you can begin to enjoy those things. And I'm looking forward to that and the starting of new things. So we have a lot going on, and I cannot wait to see it all happen. And thank you again to our staff for all of their hard work, and Merry Christmas to everybody. All right, do we have a motion to go into closed session?
Madam Mayor, I move the board go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege.